Dad's probably having fun here, so leaving some of the windrows go for now. Getting the, I think he's getting the dryer stuff done first, but boy, he's got a lot of bales here already. Wow, nice. Probably having a blast. Don't have to drive very far to get a full bale. Fun, fun, fun. He might get more than 50 bales here. I see you got 1, 2. Look at 3 there. Probably gets 3 per windrow here. Close to it. Yeah, he'll probably have more than 50 bales down in this area. That's nuts. Seed. The water table's been so stupid high, so. But we are having a problem with the baler though. The pickup clutch kick-out actuator blew itself apart. Disable it on the monitor so it doesn't try to engage or disengage anymore. But luckily it broke when it tried to disengage, so it actually stays engaged now. So really what's happening is the pickup, like a regular old baler, the pickup stays running now. So, but anyways though, I'm just heading over to a pasture. As we were making hay on those hills there, the cows were there. We just moved them out and bring over a hose for the water tank there, fill it, and get that cleaned out, ready to go for the cows then. And yeah, get an electric fencer going and get that taken care of tonight. Well, I just got that thing set together here, the actuator. Took it off. The whole casing's busted on it. I don't know what the heck happened to it. Just pretty much imploded itself. So we're just getting the chains lubed here and be able to grease up. I gotta take some net wrap out of the picker. There are totals. There's the totals. I want that picture. I can about imagine how much this part would cost, but put it this way, I will be very disappointed if we don't get some of this paid for, if not completely everything paid for it. Because this is stupid. Not even 5,000 bales in this baler, and this thing implodes. So, but what we did, took this off. It was kind of wedging itself here. Take this bolt out, but we have to take that bolt out to relieve some pressure. Loosen that bolt, and then take this, loosen this bolt up in here then on the actuator, and yeah, got it apart then. I mean, really, you should only have to take out this bolt and that other bolt in there, but you can see there's no screws. Well, those screws are still in. Yep, you can see those screws on the inside are still in yet, but they're not actually holding against anything. The only screw that's holding is, well, you can't see it from here, I guess, but the rest of them are shredded or the casing is just broken. So slap some duct tape around it, a couple zip ties, just kind of hold it together so we could run the actuator then to make sure it's fully engaged out all the way. That holds, and then we slapped everything back together then, so it stays engaged. And that has nothing to, even if you do run your balers extremely hard, or like we do, we try to take it easy on stuff. Either way, that's just from when it's bale tie, basically, or when we're oiling chains, or when we're trying to diagnose if there's something ticking going on, funny ticking noise, we can narrow it down. I'm hopeful. They've been really good to us in the past. Any problems, they've been really good to us. But find out. Update on this thing. Yeah. Remember when I said I wasn't too worried? Because of that. They're covering it. So, and actually covering a little bit more too. Talk with our dealer too. There's a couple bearings in here on the shaft here. They need to be replaced after every, dealer recommends every 5,000 to 8,000 bales. And also they recommend the shaft getting replaced too. So, supposedly, Vermeer's paying for that too. The dealer's gonna come out at some point. It's really we told him not any rush. I mean, baler works just fine. Just, you know, we don't have the kick out feature anymore, but, told him anytime, come out and they'll do it. So, I mean, we could do it ourselves, everything, but we're just gonna have the dealer do, because they're gonna, even though this Baler is, I forget when the heck we got this Baler again. I'd have to look back again, but it's, you know, well out of warranty, way out of warranty. But I'm actually kind of surprised that Vermeer is going to cover those bearings too. I'm actually a little surprised by that. So that's the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, why, you know, I'm not loyal to very many brands. I think the only brands I'm loyal to is Vermeer and probably Rouse, I would say too. Other than that, though, yes, we got a lot of blue machines on this farm too, but there's also an orange one back there. There's a red one in the other building. There's a John Deere payloader and a John Deere corn planter. Arctic Cat snowmobiles, Polaris four-wheelers. You know, the last two balers we bought, we didn't even look anywhere else. You know, before we bought our Super M, we knew we were going to get a Vermeer. It's just calling around a dealer to see who's got the better deal. And before we bought this one too, we were going to buy a Vermeer no matter what. There was just nothing in between, just because I don't know if of another company that would do that. Something that's way out of warranty like this, doesn't constitute a recall, but there is an issue, and so amazing. Would something like this with New Holland happen? As in words of Kevin Garnett.
That's a big HELLNAH. No.
Even with warranty stuff, they're still. And that's why we have some ACO machines, and why we have a couple John Deere pieces here and there too. So, but like I say, the last 30 years we've been Vermeer Baler. Last 30 years, and the last 15 years, pretty much a Vermeer bale processor. So, because the reason why they put them on, I guess I found out too, on this series is I guess they moved I mean, it's pretty similar to a Super M, but I think supposedly they moved the picker closer to the bale chamber, and that's why they put this kick-out clutch here, just so this feeds better. And you can see we got some net wrap stuck right there again, so it helps. It alleviates catching the net wrap and whatnot. But that's why they put that. One of the big reasons why they put that kick-out clutch on, so they don't have that problem then. See, just like with that swather, just like anything else. The T9 this year, it's amazing. Once you actually have a problem, you find out other people have actually had some problems too with it. Who would have thought? Good to know. So, apparently these actuators, I think there's 3 of them on this baler. One is for the twine tie arm on here. Of course, one for the kick out, and actually for the net wrap actuator too. Moving that net wrap arm back here. It's just the only difference between all 3 of them is just the stroke is different. I think that's a 4-inch stroke on that one, so just that the cylinders, how much it moves, is different. It depends on your dealer too, but you know, any of the Vermeer dealers we've worked with over these past decades, you know, most dealers have been pretty good. And the thing is, you get a response back the same day, like called on Wednesday morning after Independence Day. And then by that afternoon, then we had an answer. Just like that. It's just quick. One thing I wish they'd have on the net wrap here is to have the net load button back here instead of having to do it from the cab, from the tractor. I talked about that on our Super M too. But I mean, it's doable with one person, but like on a windy day, it's kind of a bugger. You got to pull through quite a bit of net wrap to, you know, get the net wrap to stay put where you want it to and fighting the wind. It'd be nice if they had a net load button back here, or switch, just a regular manual toggle switch, either on or off. Off being that it's retracted, the arm's retracted. On means the arm comes out of the way so you can feed the net wrap in. That would be great to have a little manual switch back here. Just something easy. So that's the only thing I wish they would have, a net load switch back here to make it a little bit more handy, I would say. Nicer. Yeah, see, here's I can tell that actuator is pretty much identical to the one that broke. pretty much identical, just a longer rod, longer stroke. Yeah, I can see that now. Well, might as well include this on the video, I suppose, too, but update. This thing. Dealer came out and brought the new parts here, fixed the new actuator, and also brought out 2 new bearings, new shaft, and some updated parts too here. But essentially kind of what got from the mechanic that works on a lot of these things. These actuators here, they said they didn't have too many problems with the first models in like the first several years. They hardly seen any of these, but it's been more recently models that they've been seeing more troubles with these actuators breaking, so they're not sure if it's just the manufacturer of these actuators cheapened up a little bit. So basically what Vermeer did, it's a new kit here. There's just a little piece on here. You see this yellow piece here? Bracket. And it's on the other side too. See right here, it's on the other side. Just, it's pretty much like another, pretty much outer brace, or what do you want to call it? 4 bolts, and just helps keep the motor together, stronger. So was Vermeer's fix for this, since it's a common enough problem that Vermeer had to step in and add an additional part on there. They also, Vermeer included, they sent out 2 new bearings. There's 2 bearings in here, one here, for this whole disengagement assembly here. And also a new shaft in here, because they're actually having problems with on the outside of the shaft here. Mainly when it disengages, it likes to wear a groove on there's a shaft in here where there's bolt threads in it. It likes to wear in a groove on the shaft on the outside. Eventually this stuff could fall off in a nutshell, or get a lot of play in there, and it's not good on anything. But they were kind of the guinea pigs, I guess. But I guess Vermeer just basically added in a grease stick on here to get grease on that shaft, outer part of that shaft, just to keep a little bit of film, grease film on there. So this is actually the dealer said this is actually the first one they got in, so they actually brought this out. So we didn't know this was coming out too. Essentially what was happening is, after about 5,000 to 8,000 bales, you're supposed to replace these bearings and that shaft, because that shaft would get wore down. So maybe this will alleviate some of that. We'll find out after how long here. It's really not that hard to take apart, really. It's pretty straightforward. So and I asked him on the clutches then too, what's the longevity on them. And he said, as long as you're not just abusing the piss out of this thing, like going through tough hay where you're causing it constantly slip and everything like that, he said these things should be trouble free. They shouldn't have any need to rebuild them or just replace them. So, but he said he's seen most of the time, he said he doesn't see too much trouble with them, except for guys that are beating the piss out of them, then tough hay or something like that, slipping, causing making the plugging stuff or something like that. And then he said, yeah, you can pretty much burn it up then, and where essentially what happens is the clutch will just stays engaged the whole time. It just acts like just without the assembly then. But once clutch gets damaged too much, then so it just ends up staying engaged the whole time. But so that's the gist on that, I guess. So, but it really wasn't too hard of a fix to change that stuff. Really wasn't a whole lot to it. Pretty straightforward. Just make sure you get all the pieces, proper pieces put together. Yeah, and then it's also make sure everything is loose here too. Like they're locking nuts and everything. They only get so tight, just like how they were before. So things should be loose on here, so everything can give when it engages and disengages. So, but ran it here a few times, in and out, several times, actually quite a bit. Make sure everything looked correct. So yeah, so that's the update on that. So that's just kind of a PSA. two new updated parts, that bracket on that actuator, and this is just a new thing coming out too. Like I said, kind of a guinea pig. Gave it a couple shots of grease here. Even the guy didn't know for sure what to how often to grease, but I'm just gonna give it 1 or 2 shots of grease every time we grease the baler. Even then, I don't know. I asked too, like maybe you should maybe over grease it where it, you know, grease comes out of here, or just adding in, just putting a film of grease, layer of grease around here to help keep you know, dirt or dust out from in there. And then every time you grease the baler, then wipe off that old grease and put on a new layer around here, then just to help keep more dirt out, because it's probably not good if dirt gets in there too and rubs on stuff. So I don't know. It's like I said, we're kind of one of the first ones to have this piece on here right now around here anyways. Oh yeah, and there was another thing I forgot about this too. This shaft in here, first year we had it, this shaft right here, this flighting on here, and these paddles, kind of, I don't know what you want to call them, a stripper roller, I don't know what you want to call it, but first year we had it, it actually somehow it bent, it warped where we it was rubby. You can still see the rub marks there, right there, and I think, yeah, there's some right there, I think. But essentially, you know, it was warped where the flighting was actually hitting this roller, causing a racket. And we tried to bend it using come-alons and chains and everything. Got it to bend back a little bit, but then we ended up grinding down some of the flighting in, just so it wouldn't touch the roller anymore. It's been fine ever since. But we can notice in the bearings when it's going around and around, you notice that, you know, there's a slight wobble in the bearing, but it's been like that for years now. And yeah, so we had him look at that too. Apparently this was kind of a known issue, sporadic. Something about a welding, not a proper weld job on it or something, and it just something just like the flighting just moves or something gets out of alignment and can basically break that shaft and whatnot. So he said it wasn't very common at all, but he said he has replaced a few of them though, of that shaft in there. Fine ever since, I guess. So we've been checking the bearing temperatures. Bearings haven't changed at all. So I mean, this thing really doesn't have any load on it. You know, the only load is, you know, just from the sprocket, the chain tightness of the chain is the only load on those bearings really. So that they don't really carry a load, so that's one thing. So it's not of too concern. So he just looked at it, but it's like, yeah, it's one of those things. So he's got it noted for us, but we'll just let her go for now. It's probably a-okay unless something happens, I suppose. Then we'll deal with it later. But so there's the finalization on this. So this, I would say, just minor issue, really. You know, it just had to patch it up just a little bit so we could just keep baling and just, you know, the picker wouldn't shut off. But yeah, so there's a couple updates. PSA: make sure your baler has that. If you have a 605N Select, make sure you got those updated parts for the actuator, and then also that new greasable washer for that internal shaft there on the clutch. So something to make note of. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something.